All right. Welcome. Monday Night Football. Today's a little bit different, guys. We got two games today. Cam Newton got COVID. Obviously, you guys know that. And then everyone went into freak mode and thought football is over. Football's getting canceled. Obviously not. NFL still handled it the way they should have. But now we get two games to play today. Anyways, so what I'm going to do, normally I would just talk about one team or one game, but I'm going to talk about both. I'm going to talk more in the Showdown perspective, but it can still be used the same way if you're building for the Classic. So first game I want to talk about is the first one on the slate, Patriots versus the Chiefs. Obviously, if Cam Newton was playing, this game might be a little bit more interesting to me. But with Cam Newton out, I'm just kind of stressing that this game is going to be exciting at all. Right now, we have the Patriots with an over-under of 18.75 points, and the Chiefs are 29.75. The Chiefs are minus 11 favorites. So as you can tell, Vegas completely thinks that the Chiefs are going to handle this game with ease. As I break down the game, I'm going to kind of feel like that is the same route that I'm feeling, but I'm going to tell you why as I go down the list. So we're going to talk about the Patriots first. I think this is the first place we need to talk about. This is a lot of question marks. You don't really know what to do. So let's talk about them. The first things first, Patriots running backs. Today, we're going to get James White back. Unfortunately, that he had to deal with some family issues and, prayers to the family. But I think he's going to come back with vengeance today. He wants to play for his family today. So I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that type of thing with him today. But overall, Patriots are going to have 4 active running backs as of now, right? Sony Michel, Damian Harris, Rex Burkhead, and James White. Those are all the running backs that I would assume that would be active. But as we get closer to game time, I would not be surprised if we hear one of them is inactive. It just wouldn't make sense to carry 4 running backs, in my opinion. But who knows what's going on with the Patriots. So, first of all, Sony Michel, 5,400. The issue that I'm having with Sony Michel is that he doesn't do any catches. He doesn't catch the ball, right? He just used to run. Obviously, in this game, I firmly believe that the Patriots are going to have to slow the game down and keep Mahomes off the field as much as they can. So they are going to try to run as much as they can. Doesn't mean they're going to be productive with it. Doesn't mean they're going to be getting much with it. I mean, it's not like Sony Michel is an amazing running back, right? 5,400, it's okay. Damian Harris is another one, 2,800. I really believe that one of these guys is going to be inactive. The obvious guess would be Damian Harris, but who knows? So definitely keep your eye on that. If one of them ends up being out, I definitely would like the other guy a lot. I think that's guaranteed touches, guaranteed volume, and we like volume, right? We like the volume. So that's something that we got to keep our eyes on as the game gets closer. Which one of these guys can be inactive? If they're both active, I don't like either. I won't touch either one. I think there's not going to be enough work, especially not enough upside in a game where the Patriots are 11-point dogs, right? So again, if you're building lineups that are showing that the Patriots are going to be in the lead, or they're just slowing the game down as much as they can, and maybe the scores don't reach what Vegas thinks they're going to reach, I guess one of these guys would be fine. But in my perspective, I don't think these guys are going to be that great today. I mean, I'm kind of hoping Sony Michel sits, because then Damian Harris would be an easier pill to swallow, especially if he scores a touchdown at 2,800. I mean, we kind of like that, right? So either or, not my favorite plays today at all. I really don't want to touch either of those guys. The next two guys I have a little more interest in, Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead, love Rex. Always love Rex. He went absolutely bananas against the Raiders last week. I ended up playing him in all my season-long leagues. Made some money with him last week. I was feeling good about it. But that was with James White out. And now Rex Burkhead is now in a situation where he is 7,000. And that's a really, really expensive for someone whose volume is very inconsistent. Is he a good GPP play? Absolutely. I mean, we don't know if the Patriots are going to be using both these James White and Rex Burkhead to do the same thing all day long, right? I could definitely see Hoyer struggling. I could see him, none of the none of the Patriots wide receivers have really the greatest matchups. So it might be one of those games where they just do a lot of dump offs, right? Little dump passes. And that might be Hoyer's only option tonight. So I don't love Rex. I don't love his price. I probably will have very little. But he definitely GPP viable. If that makes sense. James White, 6,400. Guys, I just don't understand why you wouldn't attack this. James White, he's cheaper than Burkhead. He gets more volume than Burkhead. He's a safer bet than Burkhead. You know, he's coming off a big family issue. I promise you he's going to go out there and play everything that he has for his family. I see James White having a great day today. I love James White today. He might be one of my favorite plays on the Patriots. So really like James White. Rex Burkhead is fine. Definitely a little expensive, but I would, if you're MMEing, have him, a small percentage. I'm struggling to see 7K as a Rex Burkhead price. It just doesn't seem like it's too expensive. So love James White regardless. Brian Hoyer. We know what Brian Hoyer can do. He has his days. He has his days where he's great, but he's still a backup old man quarterback, right? And he's going against a pretty difficult defense. Chiefs defense is no slouch. They know how to handle it. They are pretty freaking solid against wide receivers. And Hoyer's in a tough situation. I think if Cam Newton was in this game, I think I would have said I'm all over Cam Newton. I think he would have to run all day. I think it's possible 2 to 3 rushing touchdowns from Cam Newton, so on and so forth. But I don't see that happening today with Hoyer. I see him struggling quite a bit. But if you're running Patriots stacks, you got to have Hoyer in your lineup, in my opinion. His wide receivers with him, we have Julian Edelman at 7,800. He has the best matchup, but still going against Tyrann Mathieu, it's not the greatest. Like, when I say the best matchup, doesn't mean it's a good matchup. It just means it's the best matchup on the team from my perspective. I think he's a good PPR target. I think he'll get peppered all day. I think he might get 8 to 9 targets today. Wouldn't be shocked. And we like volume, but the matchup is not great. You're going to need a score. You're going to need a lot of things for him. But I think if I had to choose out of any of the Patriots, obviously it would be Julian Edelman. I think he's the safest bet. My second wide receiver would be N'Keal Harris at 4,600. He's like super inconsistent, isn't he? He has his days where he's really good. He has his days he really, really looks awful. He's going to be needed today. He's going to be needed. The Patriots are going to be down, guys. 11 points down. I mean, he's fine. He's fine. I don't love it again. But he's okay. He's 4,600. He's cheap. If you need some volume, and then you have Bird. I think a lot of people will play him. I honestly don't blame them. 2,400. PPR target, right? They're going to be throwing. If we can get 6 to 8 points from Bird, cool. I'm happy. Totally happy. I'd even like Bird in my, if I was doing like a Chiefs onslaught, like 5x1, I think I would even have like a Bird as my one-off, right? Because if you can get 8 points from Bird and then you can completely stack the Chiefs, could work out. Could totally work out. So in that perspective, I like Edelman. I like Bird because of his value, how cheap he is. I think Harris is a great GPP option. Again, Patriots are pretty ugly today. I just don't love it. I don't love it. I think they're gonna struggle quite a bit. I think the Chiefs gonna have this game with ease. Yeah. So, but that's how I pretty much think about the Patriots. It's kind of just like a shit show. What it is to me. Okay, so let's talk about the Chiefs. Let's talk about their running backs. Clyde Edwards. He's getting 65% to 70% of the snaps. That's cowbell. That's cowbell, right? That's a shit ton. 65% to 70%. He is a heavy home favorite, and we all know what heavy home favorite running backs do. They just run. So Edwards, hands down, is my favorite play in this whole game. I will probably just lock him in 100%. To be completely honest with you, I'll probably have him 100%. What I mean by that is like I want him in every lineup. I'm gonna run like probably 40 today. I don't think I'm gonna do too much, and I'll probably lock him in all of them. And I don't give a shit. I think he's the safest volume today. I think he's gonna get carries. I think he's gonna get goal line looks. I think he's going to do what he has to do. So I really like Edwards a lot. The other running backs to be Darrell Williams, Thompson, and then Sherman. All MME, all fine. I could see, if this game gets completely out of hand, I could see the Chiefs pulling Edwards out, kind of saving him to rest him up. Kind of like a blowout situation in an NBA game, right? Where if your team is up by 40, you take out your starters, whatever, right? I can see that happening. So normally I don't like to try to have too much exposure to these value plays because, the percentage of the time that they hit, it's, you know what I mean? But I think I would want to have a sprinkle in my GPP pool. I would probably go Thompson, then Williams, and then Sherman if I had to put them in order. That's how I look at it. But that's only if we think that the Chiefs are going to pull Edwards, right? They could definitely do it. If this game gets out of control, we could see Edwards pulled. We could see starters pulled. We could see a lot of weird stuff today, and I wouldn't be surprised. So again, Edwards locked, like lock and load, like just lock him in. I don't care. I'm locking him in. Now, wide receivers. Tyreek Hill is 11,000. Hell of expensive. He's 11,000. But the thing is that when he plays the Patriots don't really seem to like zone in on him per se. They mostly like to zone in on Travis Kelce. But with Patrick Chung not playing this year, it could be different, right? It could change a little bit. Regardless, he has the best matchup on the Chiefs wide receiver wise. I really like him today. He is expensive. He's very expensive. But if you're running stacks, I think you need to have a little bit of Hill, right? His ceiling is insane. So, again, you don't need me to tell you that Tyreek Hill's in play. He's in play every game. So, love Tyreek Hill. He's a great play. He's fine. My second wide receiver is Sammy Watkins, 5,800. I think this guy's sneaky today. He is my second favorite matchup on the slate. He's going against Gilmore, which I get. People are like, well, Stephon Gilmore is really good. I get it. I understand. But Stephon Gilmore, if you look at his last two games, his last two matchups, Renfro and Metcalf did what they needed to do against him. They destroyed him. They handled it. Sammy Watkins has 20 targets in 3 games. And with all the attention on Hill and Kelce, even based on players like playing DFS, I think Watkins could be that overlooked captain play. I kind of like him. I really do. I think I always like Watkins. He has a high ceiling, but his floor is a little bit low. But I really like Sammy today. Don't forget to play Sammy today, guys. Great spot. The next wide receiver is Demarcus Robinson. He's 2,000. He got 55% of the snaps last week. 55%. And he has 11 targets in 3 games. You got a wide receiver who's starting with, the best offense in football at 2K. I don't understand how you would fade that. How can you fade that? I'm not saying going 100% on him, but don't fade him. He's in the best offense, and he's so cheap. I like him. I like him a lot. Demarcus Robinson is that guy, and I think that he's going to be lower owned. Yeah. So my next wide receiver would be McCole Hardman. He got 33% of the snaps. But even with that small percentage of snaps, 33%, he's always known to have those big old days. Remember, we just talked about this, that he's really, really fast and he can outburn anyone. And then with Mahomes having one of the best arms in football, it's easily for him just to go a deep 7-yard pass for a touchdown to Hardman within those 33% of the snaps. So I think he's strictly GPP. I wouldn't play him in cash. I think Demarcus Robinson would be more of my cash play. Not saying that I would want to go there, but if you needed, another wide receiver for your onslaught or whatever, I think it depends where you're playing. So in order, obviously it would be Hill. I love Watkins a lot. I like Robinson, and then I like Hardman. Hardman and Robinson, back and forth cash, GPP. And then the next one would be the last but not least, Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is going against the Patriots, who have completely shut down tight ends the first 3 weeks of football. Week 1, Gesicki had 6 points. Week 2, Olsen had 0. Week 3, Waller had 2.90. So as you can tell, even with Chung not playing, Patriots are still handling tight ends fairly well. I would say week 2 as a joke. Greg Olsen really not getting that many looks. Fine. Gesicki on a shit team. The 6 points could be kind of a whatever because they most likely were playing from behind. But seeing Waller struggle on an offense who targets him 8 to 10 targets a game, that just tells me that they're the real deal. I really feel like they're the real deal. So I think Kelce's a fine play, But if you wanted to ask me who would you like more, Hill or Kelsey, I would go Hill. I think Hill is in a better spot than him. And I think Hill has a better opportunity tonight than Travis Kelsey. So this game is ugly. I don't like it. I really don't. If you're playing the 2 gamers, I think this game would probably be lower owned, which I could see why you could completely fade the Chiefs games and maybe just run, Chiefs defense. No, I'm sorry. Maybe fade the, I don't know. If you wanted to fade the Packers and the Falcons game for the most part, probably sticking with this game, right? Because they're going to be lower owned. That's why I talked about like Hardman and Robinson and Watkins, all these guys that people are not going to really look at. They're all going to be focusing on the second game because they got the same perspective as us. They're thinking that this game is shit. So it's a good place to find that lower ownership guys. And dude, Frank, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's just you got to make the logical decisions with those sneaky plays, right? I think the sneaky plays in this game could be like Sammy Watkins. I think the sneaky plays in this game could be Demarcus Robinson. I think those are the sneakier plays. Yeah, so that's kind of how I look at it. My sneaky play in this game, probably one of those value wide receivers would definitely be one of them, but I really think Sammy Watkins is the safer sneakier play, if that makes sense. Again, he's gotten 20 targets in 3 games. 20 targets in 3 games, guys. That is truly madness. I love Sammy Watkins today. I really do. I think Sammy Watkins is a guy that you definitely need to have in your showdown lineups, and I'm most likely going to try to be kind of heavy in my 2-gamer because I know that he's not going to be super high owned. So Sammy Watkins is great. I like Demarcus Robinson. I don't think he's going to carry enough ownership at all because I think everyone's going to go to Hardman, which is fine. I'm not saying Hardman is a bad play. I'm just saying if you're trying to play the ownership game, I think Robinson will be the lower owned guy. So, and I'll talk about that more in Slack today too. So not a big deal. I'm gonna be dropping notes as well. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the whole game. If you want to look at, well, I'm saying like value. When I say sneakier play based off ownership, you're saying 23% based off. Are you talking about the 2-gamer or the 1-gamer? Because if you're talking about the showdown, 23% is too low. That means no one's playing him, right? If you're talking about the 2-gamer, I still think 23% is too low. We're talking about 2 games. 2 games. And I'm going to tell you that Gage is going to be over 60. I'm going to tell you that Ridley's going to be over 60. I'm going to tell you that even Jones is going to be higher owned. All those guys are going to be higher owned. So when you say 23% isn't sneaky, I have to disagree with you. I think this slate is too small. If it was a bigger slate, if it was like a 6-gamer, right? Let's just say that. 2-game in the $1 million contest, 23%. I still think that's too low. Because think about how big is that contest? Huge, right? It's a huge contest. 23% in that contest that probably has over 100,000 entries, maybe even more. I haven't even looked. 23% is fine. Fine. I still think that's still low owned. So Sammy Watkins to me is still a really great play. I like Sammy Watkins. Captain wise, for the showdown, I like Edwards would be my number 1 captain. I think he's the safest bet. I think he's your cash lock as your captain. I really like him, and I think he's fine in GPPs as well. Just eat the chalk like people did with Kittle yesterday and subdue one fucking everything, right? So I like Edwards. I think Edelman is a fine GPP captain play. Hoyer's gonna throw the ball. The matchup's not great. Matchup's not great at all. But Hoyer's gonna have to throw the ball. He's gonna have to feed somebody. So I like Edelman. I think you can go with Hill next. Again, he's super expensive. He's really expensive. The game script is not going to be, the best for him, but he still has a high enough ceiling to get to where he needs to be. So Hill's fine. Then I would probably go with Kelsey, but again, Kelsey isn't my favorite play today. I think he's good for, he gives us 15 points, cool. But I don't think he's my favorite captain play. I think he's more of a flex option. And then if you wanted to be really sneakier, you can go with the it's all good, bro. If you want to be really sneakier with like the value captain plays, you could wait for the news of Sony Michel and Harris, see if one of them's inactive. If one of them's inactive, you could play one of those. I think Watkins is a fine GPP value play. I think that or captain play. I think that Hardman would be my preferred captain play based off his ceiling, but I wouldn't go nuts with that. So overall, this game is a mess. I normally try to think opposite of Vegas because that's normally how you take down the GPPs. But in this option, I just don't see how you ignore them. Hoyer in this and going against a good defense and a team that's it just doesn't gonna. I just don't see it. But for the Patriots to win this game, they're gonna have to run. So that's why I think it's important to pay attention to the news of any inactive running backs for the Patriots. So if Sony Michel sits, love Harris. If Harris sits, give me Sony Michel. You want exposure to one of those guys. If they're both playing, don't play them, in my opinion. I just can't do it. Maybe have like a small percentage, but yeah. So that is the Chiefs game. It's going to be not that exciting. It's not going to be that great. Am I playing Hill? I'll probably have some lineups for sure, without a doubt. It's hard to fade someone with the high ceiling, regardless of the matchup, regardless of the game script. I love James White. As I mentioned earlier today, James White's coming back, dealing with that big family problem. Oh, Sony Michel's out? See? Sick. All right. So, Damian Harris, guys. Lock and low. Damian Harris. That's big news. That's huge news. So, there you go. Sony Michel's out. But that also, I think, makes Burkhead a little more valuable, right? Even though he's expensive, they're going to be from behind. They're going to do a lot of dump passes. Maybe Rex gets a lot more work. Maybe they just said, fuck, Sony sucks. Let's just give Rex some value. Let's give him some volume. Let's get him out there. Rex, I like Rex. So that's interesting. So Harris, Sony, and James White, I think you need to have exposure to all of them. All of them. I would have James White first. I would probably go Harris second because he's cheap. And then I would go Rex third because he's just pretty expensive. And I think he's strictly GPP regardless. White is, yeah, correct. Of course, he was like that before. That's what I'm saying. James White, it's the safer volume. And it screams Bill Belichick to feed this man until he can't be fed anymore, especially after the whole family thing, right? They want him to play really well today. They want him to feel better. So that's why I'm thinking James White for sure. Now that adds James White to your captain, your captain thoughts. I really like James White now. I think he could. I don't think he has the highest ceiling, but I don't think you need the highest ceiling in this game per se. Make sense? All right. Let's talk about the exciting game. We have Falcons at the Packers. Right now the over-under is 56. The Falcons are at 25 points, and the Packers are at 31. The Packers are -6. Yeah, White, again, bro, love White. I'll probably be – him and Edwards would probably be my highest owned players in that game. And, dude, Hoyer, no. Kind of like – so here, I think a lot of people are going to do this. Let's go back to that game really quick. I think a lot of people are going to do this. Yesterday in the optimal lineup, Kittle was the captain, but they didn't play Mullins. So I do see today – that people are going to see that and go, oh, shit, I don't need to play Hoyer. So it might not be an awful thing to play Hoyer in a few with the stacks because I don't think people are going to play him. And again, if the Chiefs are up by 20, 25, they're going to have to throw, right? And if the Chiefs start pulling starters, I mean, things can happen. Yeah, with you, bro. Wasn't it like 2 touchdowns? I think he went nuts. I'm with you, man. Like James White a lot. Okay, back to the Packers game. So Falcons at Packers. I love this game. I think there are amazing matchups on both sides. I think this game is 3 touchdowns. Jesus. I think this game's absolutely going to be a fun one to watch. I'm super excited. I remember that, bro. Totally do. So let's talk about the Falcons first. We have Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley on the Showdown slate is 8,200. I like his price a lot more on the primetime 2-gamer that was yesterday and through today. I haven't checked quite yet what his price is on today's slate. I don't know if it's changed or not, but anyways. For a Showdown perspective, he's 8,200. He's getting 51% of the snaps, or last week he did. He had 14 carries for two targets. The issues that I'm having is that he is a road dog. So I worry about the upside just a tad, and the targets are, 2 targets. That's not the upside we're really looking for, and that price is kind of expensive. Like 8,200 for someone who's getting some value or volume, right? I'm not, but this matchup is a smash spot. You could run on Green Bay. You can run on them. You can do many things to their running defense, like run defense. You can handle that. So I think for Showdown, I would lower my exposure a tad. I would lower my exposure a tad, but he's risky. Gurley is a risky guy. That's why the Rams got rid of him. But I do see a touchdown. I see a touchdown today easily. Without a doubt, I see a touchdown. I like him in the two-game slate, but when it comes to Showdown, I'm feeling like I want under the field. Because the next guy I like a lot more, 2,800 Brian Hill. Brian Hill, 34% of the snaps. He does not have a huge ceiling, but he's a great value play. And he's going to get more catches in the backfield. He's going to be used a lot more. He's looking way better than Todd Gurley is. I like Brian Hill a lot. I think he's one of the value plays that yes, mostly DK. But everything I'm saying can relate to both sides. So I really like Brian Hill. I'm assuming he's super cheap on FanDuel as well. I love Brian Hill. So I like both running backs. Again, I think Gurley's a little bit expensive. So I probably have a little more Brian Hill in tournaments, but I think you need some Gurley in your life today. I do. Now, wide receivers. Julio Jones is expected back today. He's 8,600. He started off the season slow because he's had a lingering hamstring issue. And as you know, wide receivers and hamstrings, they just don't work, right? They can't do it. I think he's going to be lower owned today because of those lingering hamstring issues. I think people are going to be freaking out. I think people are going to think that he's going to have less snaps. I think people are going to think that he's just maybe washed up now. I mean, I really don't know, but I want to attack Julio Jones as much as I can if I know for sure that he's going to be lower owned than the rest of the wide receivers. If you're playing in a shootout, a high-scoring game, I just wouldn't understand why you would fade Julio. And his price isn't atrocious. 8,600. Tyreek Hill was 11,000. So I really like Julio Jones. I'm going to take my chances with him. I think that he could easily – he's on the highest projected spin on the board at 6K. But that we're talking about the two-gamer, right? I'm talking about the Showdown today. But again, dude, you have to think about these smaller slates is that the higher percentages are really not – if he's like 60 to 70%, I get it. But if he's going to be like 30 to 35%, I want it. Does that make sense? So I like Julio today. I really do. I think you need to get at least a little bit of Julio in your life today. I think we can easily see his first touchdown this year. I think it could happen. And he has the best matchup. Well, he has a pretty good matchup on this in this game. The next guy, Calvin Ridley, 9,600. He's more expensive than Julio Jones. Way more expensive. He's looked elite, and this matchup is perfect for Ridley. One thing that really loves, he loves to play against zone D defense, and that is what the Packers do. And he will face Jair Alexander, who can be beat. I think he's going to be the chalkiest Falcons wide receiver today. I think he's going to have the most exposure, and for good reason. He's in a great prime spot. We got a game that they're dogs. He's obviously going to have to be playing from behind the whole game. So I love Ridley. I really do. But again, when you're talking about ownership, if you're going to tell me that KC minus, oh boy, minus 13.5. Oh my God. You think so? I don't know. I don't think they will, dude. I really don't. I think, well, yeah, honestly, if we had Adams, I would probably feel more comfortable about it, but Adams is not playing, so everyone's going to have to spend the money, right? Because for some reason, DFS players don't know that it's okay to leave money left over. So obviously Julio Jones will have ownership, but compare him to Ridley and Jones, I promise you, Ridley will be higher owned. Promise you. So if that's the case, I want Julio over Ridley, but Ridley's still in a smash spot. That's just me. I really like Ridley today. Now, this is my favorite wide receiver play, and I think he's mostly a good bet for GPPs. Russell Gage, he's 6,200. In my opinion, he has the best matchup on the Falcons. Best matchup. The Packers are vulnerable towards the middle of the field. That's where they struggle the most. So that helps out the tight ends. That helps out the running backs. That helps out, helps out Gage. So at 6,200, that's way too cheap for his upside. Yes, Julio's here, but does it mean that he's not going to get his stuff? It's Frank. Why would you block me for stating my opinion on Connor channel? I didn't block you. What are you talking about? What you talking about, man? I didn't block anybody. I don't even know how to block people on here. Big D. Anyways. Yep, I agree with you, bro. I love Kansas City defense tonight, too. Probably would definitely have that in my arm slots. Anyways, so I love Gage. So if I had to put this in order, I think I would obviously go Ridley as the safest volume, the safest bet, safest guy to get you that touchdown tonight. I would probably go Gage because I really think this is the best spot for him. He's way too cheap. I think he's I didn't block you. What are you talking about? I didn't block anybody. I don't know how. And then Julio Jones, I think he's the leverage play off Ridley. That's me. Frank, I didn't block you, man. Did not block you. Okay, and then ATL to upset. Oof. I mean, it's possible. The game is projected to stay pretty close. What is it going to take? Like one. Joe, Julio, why would that not be leverage? Are you telling me that Ridley is going to be lower owned than Julio? I would highly disagree with you. Highly disagree with you. Everyone's going to play Ridley. Everyone. So if you don't think that, hey, bro, that's fine. It's your money. I'm just here to help you out, give you some tips. So my favorite wide receivers down the list would obviously be Ridley, the safest bet. Safest bet, safest volume. I really like that. I think I like Gage second. He's cheap. They struggle in the middle of the field. Really like Gage. And I think, again, Julio Jones is my leverage play off Ridley. I like Ridley based on the fact that I think I like Jones a little bit more than Ridley because I still firmly believe that Ridley will be higher owned than Julio. So, and I do agree with you, man. I think there's some situations in this game with Lazard and Adams out that could definitely be an upset for sure. So definitely have those leverage plays. That's what I'm saying. So, anyways, the last play I want to talk about is Hayden Hurst. He's 5,400. His targets are very inconsistent. They're all over the place. In one game, he had 8 targets, and in the next 2 games, he had 8 targets combined. So his volume is very inconsistent, but he's really in a good spot. Again, we talked about how Gage has a great spot in this offense against his defense that struggles in the middle of the field. But I think that Hayden Hurst could definitely get that guy too. Remember, talk about middle of the field. That's where the running backs are going to be happy. That is where the tight ends are going to be happy, and that's where Gage is going to be happy. So I like Hayden Hurst and GBPs. He's super cheap at 5,400. Remember, very inconsistent. But his floor isn't as high as Gage. So, obviously, if you're asking me who's the better player in that route, obviously it would be Gage. Yeah, because he's higher ceiling. But Hayden Hurst is just fine. He's a fine play. If you're playing 1 to 3 lineups, maybe have 1. If you're playing 1 lineup, it depends on you, but I probably wouldn't have too much. I'm sure that we're gonna have some sites are gonna say he's super high owned. Again, is he higher owned than Ridley? I just don't see that. I don't see that. So that's just how I'm looking at it. Okay, so let's talk about Green Bay. This is where we got a mess. We got a mess going on here. So in Green Bay, we're talking about running backs first. Aaron Jones. No Adams last week. Jones played 71% of the snaps. He has 16 to 18 carries for 4 targets. I think we see that target rate go up today. I think the snap percentage is going to stay the same. I think we're going to see 60 to 70 snaps again. Aaron Jones he's been running like 40-yard slants to the end zone. I've seen it. Like, Aaron Jones is one of my favorite plays in this game. I think that with no Adams and no Lazard, I think that Jones is going to see a lot of work. Jeff and him are Jeff, him and really are both chocolates. But again, guys, I don't think you're fully understanding where I'm coming from this. Like, you're not understanding my thought process on the ownership, right? I'm fully aware that they're going to be higher on. Fully aware. We're talking about a 2-game slate with a shit game for the first game, and then you're talking about a 2-game slate with no Adams. So everyone's going to fucking play Julio Jones and Ridley. I'm not saying that they're going to be low-owned. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you're going to tell me that Ridley, I'm just trying to imply, bro. Like, you know what I mean? All I'm saying is if Ridley is going to be higher owned than Julio, then I want more Julio. I do know that they're both going to be higher owned. But I'm just saying, this is kind of how I would leverage that a tad. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Anyways. Okay, so Aaron Jones, no-brainer. I mean, guys, come on. You don't need me to tell you that. Aaron Jones is going to get his cowbell work. He's going to play. He's like, who is? Julio? On what site? Did Osimo tell you that? That's what I'm saying. Anyways, love Aaron Jones. Then we have Jamal Williams at 3K. I think he's interesting today based on the fact they have no wide receivers. Hell yeah, Sean Murphy, baby, up 3-0. Fuck them Astros. Oh, said that too loud. Jamal Williams played 30 to 40% of this. You trying to sneak by playing Julio, you lost. Okay, if you say so. Jamal Williams, 30 to 40% of the snaps. He should see some more work in this game because Lazard and Adams are out. I still think the catches will go up. I'm just kind of worried about the ceiling. He's 3K. He's fine. He's fine. He saw 6 carries for 1 target last week, but remember Lazard was playing, so I mean, I think the targets are going to go up just a tad. So he's a fine value play. I kind of like him. Now, the next play I like a lot. Tyler Urban, $800 bucks. He's a gadget player. He can play. He gets running backs, and he's going to play a lot in the slot. At $800 bucks, you just need a couple catches, right? And he's totally reached value. So I really like Tyler Urban. I think he's going to have to be used today. I think if you guys know anything about Aaron Rodgers, if he doesn't trust you, he doesn't throw you the ball. Yeah, absolutely, dude. See, exactly. So that's all I'm going to do is talk about these guys. That's all I can do, and let you guys make your decisions. I like Tyler Urban a lot. I think at $800 bucks, especially on the Showdown, I think he's great. Even in the 2-gamer, I don't think he's going to be highly owned. I want a lot. I really do. So I like Tyler Urban a lot. The next wide receiver I talk about is MVS. Before I found out that Adams was out, I wasn't on him. But with Adams out and now Lazard's out at 7K, so the Showdown, I don't think fading him would be a smart move, especially in a game that we're supposed to be back and forth the whole time. So I really like him. I think he's in a good spot. His matchup is fine. Yes. Exactly, dude. So I like MVS. I think he's fine. I think he's safe. I think he can get the volume. I think he's a good bet for a TD. So don't totally fade him. I like him. Now the next wide receiver we'll talk about, final one, $200 Darius Shepherd. Again, we talked about this. Darius Shepherd last week was called up from the practice squad. And again, as you know, if Rodgers doesn't trust you, he's not going to throw you the ball. Do I think that Shepherd can't reach value at $200 bucks? No, I think he can. Especially this game's a shootout. But yeah, but again, if he doesn't trust you, he's not going to throw you the ball. He's a little bit different than a Brady, in my opinion. I think Darius Shepherd is a fine play. Add him to your MME pool. Have a tad bit exposure to him. But I would prefer Urban over Shepherd, without a doubt. So, in order, wide receivers, they're pretty ugly. MVS would be my top because I think he's the safest volume. Tyler Urban would be my second. And then I would probably go with Darius Shepherd third. But again, I would prefer Urban over Shepherd. That's just me. Okay, and then the tight end situation, we have Robert Tonyan, $4,600. He's like the price of kickers, way too cheap, and the Packers don't have anyone to throw the ball to. I think he's going to get fed a lot. I think he's going to get fed quite a bit. And yes, I know he's going to be probably chalky, and for good reason. I like him. I think he's going to be needed tonight in this shootout. I think we could definitely see him reach value very easily at $4,600. I love Robert Tonyan. I think he's great. I think you need to have him in your stacks. If you're going to be stacking Rodgers, have Rodgers, Jones, and Tonyan if you want, and maybe sprinkling some Irvin. So, yeah. So again, the Packers' offense it's weird. It's going to be a weird one today. But yes. And then I have one more tight end play for you. Now, first of all, Mercedes Lewis is hurt. And I know that I like that play, though. No, I do like that play, DFS Wizard. I do. I just kind of wish that one of the Falcons were out, you know? If one of them were out, I probably would have locked him in 100% because I think he's good for that. The Texans fired Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien. A little bit too late, I would say, but damn, that's crazy. That's a big one. Anyways, Jay Steinberger. Last week he had 3 targets, 3 catches. Looks good. No Mercedes Lewis, 1,400 on a team that's gonna need people to catch the ball. Gotta have some. Gotta have a little bit. I can't tell you that when Mercedes Lewis caught that touchdown in the last Showdown slate, I didn't have any. I didn't. Totally fucked me. Totally screwed me. So I'm gonna make sure that I have some exposure today to Jace because it's quite possible that he catches something. So, anyways, my top captain plays would be Ridley, Aaron Jones, Gage, and then obviously go down the list. MBS, Hurst, Gurley, so on and so forth. So, yeah, we got some football tonight, guys. I'm really excited. Gonna have to play some sneakier guys to make a lot of money tonight, especially in that million. If you don't want to tie with everybody. But other than that, good luck to everybody. If you have any more questions, hit me up in Slack. I'm going to be posting my notes probably within the hour. And let's make some money. All right, guys. See you later.